All right. Good morning, everyone. So today, my topic for all of us to share is how do you evaluate your meal plan, and then how do you break through the plateau? Hi, Carla. Good morning. So the reason why we wanted to share this with you is because I'm sure right now, right, with the adjustment that we're having on how we're eating, being at home, it's really, really important. Number one is that you're just having that opportunity to have that reality check of like, how am I doing? How is my body feeling? What are the behaviors? Because we all know that with stress, especially as women, right, we go through emotional stress, and that causes us to stress eat. And that's not a good feeling. So, and if you've done it, it's okay. I don't want you guys to beat yourself up about it, but I do want you to acknowledge it, and it causes us, stress just causes us to do crazy behaviors that none of us really realize that we do until we do them, right? So, number one is I don't want you to beat yourself up about it. But number two is I do want you to acknowledge it. So, how can you acknowledge it? Is simple things. You can, one, jump on the scale. Jump on the scale and just, without being mean to yourself, just be aware, like, am I going in the direction in the scale that I want to? Or maybe it's with some pants. Maybe you try on some pants that you're like, okay, these are the pants. We all have that set of pants that you're like, okay, once these pants don't fit me, that's not a good sign. It's time for me to get back on track. So whatever it is for you, I invite you, especially today on a Monday, is to go back and do that. And for those of you who have been on track, I'm really, really proud of you. And I see a couple of you on here who I know have been on track, which is great. And I'm going to tell you, for me, I was sharing with some girls this morning. I feel really proud of myself. I'm actually down 3 pounds than when we started this whole COVID thing. But it's because I think I've been very, like, for me, my running and my eating well has been kind of my outlet to build disciplines in myself when it comes to like putting a routine or changing our routine that we had with COVID. So number one is acknowledge where you're at, okay? So whether it's good or bad, it's okay, because we all have detours when it comes to our goals and our journey, right? It's a matter of how do you jump back on track and stay focused. So that's what I'm going to help you do today. So acknowledge where you're at. And let's see, for those of you who maybe are on track, but you're like, okay, how do I get myself back on track, right? So what do I do? So let's get going. You guys know I love these presentations because I feel like they provide so much value. And if they do, put a 1 on the chat if you think they provide value. So it's important that you're evaluating yourself and evaluating what you're doing, okay? And this happens to all of this, okay? Sometimes, we're like, okay, I'm doing really, really good. I'm having my shakes in the morning, and then that's it. And you're probably maybe snacking throughout the day, and maybe you're having your meals, and you might even be having supplements or your tabs, right? But you might be doing like your everyday nutrition plan, where it's like you're having your shake in the morning and you're having your snacks and then you're having your lunch and meal. And so guess what happens in that everyday nutrition? It's really just to maintain you, right? So you're probably not breaking through the plateau if you're in that plan. And if you are, and if you're happy with it, that's okay. But if your goal is to continue on your weight loss goal, if that is your goal for you, well, then it's important for you to really reevaluate. And guys, this happens even to me. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I haven't been doing my 2 shakes and my 2 snacks in my meals to keep myself accountable with my goal. So one of the invitations I have with you, especially if you want to break down your plateau, is it'll make you very self-aware when you understand what you're eating. So one of the things that I'm doing, and it's even challenging, right? It's how do you create a journal where you're logging in your meals and you're logging in the calories that it has. There's a bunch of them on the phone now. You can get apps, MyFitnessPal. There's a bunch of them on there, and I'm sure a lot of the coaches have some recommendations. on apps that can help you journal your foods, and then they can help you keep in mind with like, how many calories am I taking, how many grams of protein am I taking, and is that in alignment with my goal. Keep in mind that if you're, again, in your everyday nutrition plan and you're feeling stuck, well, then that's because we need to reduce the amount of calories that your body is taking, right? And the reason why Herbalife works, guys, is because in that shake, you're getting so many nutrients, and it's a very nutrient-rich food, and it's considered a meal, but it's very low in calories, right? Because even if you're trying to do a super, super healthy meal, it's still, I mean, it's really challenging to get it even under 600 calories. So the fact that you can have the 2 shakes, that's giving you such low calorie intake. But if you replace your 2 meals, well, then you're cutting so much more calories off your meal, right? Out of your meal plan. So reevaluate where you're at. Like, have you been doing your 2 shakes and your 2 snacks? Or have you just been doing 1 shake and you've been having regular meals throughout the day? So evaluate it. And then number 2 is start a journal of your foods. Write down, because let me tell you, once you write it down, you start to see like, oh my God, I didn't have 1 snack. I had 3 snacks during the day. Or you start to realize what you truly are putting in your mouth and how effective is it for your body. Okay, so make sure you're doing that. The other invitation, and let's keep going here, is just understanding that it's balance, right? That we will never recommend for you to do one extreme or the other. So it's understanding like, am I really doing my personalized program? Am I having my balanced nutrition? And am I keeping myself active? Am I working out? Am I keeping myself going? Especially right now, right, with all this going on, like, are you incorporating the active lifestyle that you should be doing, even while being at home? And so for that, guys, I know we've been posting, we've been having these live workouts. There's just so many resources on the way. So my invitation to you is just make sure that you're balancing yourself in all of these aspects. Having good meals, good nutrition, having an active lifestyle, and then personalizing your plan. One of the things that happens, and when you start to log in your food, is you're going to start to realize that sometimes you're probably might be having too many high calories, or maybe too many high fats in your diet. So that's why those journals are really, really important, because it helps gauge it. Or sometimes, you have very low calories, too much to the extreme, right? Where you're not giving yourself enough proteins, enough fibers. So, this is where the term skinny fat comes from, right? That you have people who are very thin, but yet are very weak. So we don't want that either. You want to be strong, healthy, and well balanced. So, again, that's why I'm asking you, it's like, reevaluate in your meal plan. Are you having your 2 shakes a day? Are you having your 2 snacks? And personalizing it along the way. So one of the things with calories is just the measurement of energy in the food, right? Obviously, this tends to happen, is we tend to put way too many calories into our meals. And we don't realize it sometimes, until you pay attention to it. That's why I'm asking all of us to journal. But until you don't really start to measure how many calories food has. Now, you don't want to go crazy. I mean, that's why the 2 shakes and 1 meal work, because it takes away the crazy math of it, okay? But it starts to become a reality, especially like, let's say, one of the other things to help break your plateau, and this is a recommendation I'm going to give you, is try to dine out less, especially, I guess, and I know we want to support, all of these, businesses out there. I'm supporting businesses, especially small businesses, right? Like, please support small businesses, but be mindful of the calories that you're taking, okay? So I say that because sometimes, we might be like, oh, I'm going to have this great salad. But if you buy a salad and you dine out, you're not measuring how much sauce or how much dressing they're putting in. So all of a sudden you're having this really creamy based salad that could be in excess of over 1,000 calories that you just took. Especially when we dine out, it's really hard to measure because you don't know what they're using, how much oil they're using, how much fats they're putting in, so how much seasoning they're putting in. So if you really want to break that plateau, is number two is be careful and don't dine out as much, okay? I feel like when you cook at home, especially right now that we're all home, for me, I think this is why it's been so effective, is I've been very intentional about what I've been cooking and what ingredients I use. So how much, I've been using the avocado spray oils or the olive oils for sprays. I've been using the dashes, the seasonings that have the less sodiums in them. So you become a little bit more aware of how you can make these shifts that when you dine out, you have no control of, right? So make sure you do that. And I say that because look, this is what happens, right? All of a sudden you're eating out, you're having a slice of pizza. And I'm gonna be guilty. This weekend I had a slice of pizza, and when I looked at this chart, I was like, oh my God, 620 calories, that's so crazy. And it's so crazy when you also measure how much, that's why people, when they just work out all the time and they don't watch what they eat, they don't see results, right? Because if you were to figure out how much you would have to work out to burn 620 calories, that's an extremely intense HIIT style workout. Like, that's not our half an hour workout. That's like an hour and 15-minute, like super intense, drenched, nonstop, go, go, go workout for you to burn 620 calories. So if you measure, like, is it going to be worth the work that I'm going to have to do to burn that one slice? Now, that's just one slice. What if you had two? Or what if you had three? And then what if you had a side of Coke? Like, you see how calories start to build up very fast, and then all of a sudden we lose control. So that's why dining out is not recommended. The other thing when you're trying to break your plateau is, or one of the invitations I'm going to give you is, make sure that you're also adding that fitness aspect, because even though, like I mentioned right now, right, you would have to work out like crazy. But let's say you're going to be back on track, you're getting rid of all the junk food, you're cooking at home, you're going to be journaling what you're eating. Well, then now you also need to up the intensity of your workouts, especially, that's why our HIIT or strength training workouts work a lot better, because they help you develop muscle. And when you develop muscle, your body burns it a lot faster. So it's very, very good for your body to get that extra burn by increasing the muscle mass in your body. So that's another thing. It's like, how can you switch up your workouts this week? That's my invitation to all of you, so that you can add a little bit more lean muscle into your body and help your body burn more. One of the mistakes when you're working out is that, or just in general, right, is people are like, okay, I'm going to break the plateau by not eating. Don't do that. That's a big misconception, because when you do that, your body will hold on to fat, thinking you're not going to feed it anymore. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to completely cut out your calories. You just want to be eating throughout the day, 2 to 3 times a day, 2 to 3 hours in the day, but just the right amount. So that's why you're going to talk to your coach and ask them, what is my protein intake? How much protein should I take? And then based on that, you can start to track and journal your food, so that you're eating the right amount of protein, and figuring out, like, am I also adding too many calories in things that I can get rid of? And usually a lot of the high dense calorie things are, foods that when you dine out, soda. So if you can get rid of sodas and juices, that takes away a bunch of calories right off the bat in your food. The other thing when you're in a plateau is you want to evaluate, especially with this women, is like the dairy intake. Dairy, for some reason, does not help us with breaking that plateau. So that's another invitation. It's like, how can you switch up your dairies or eliminate them? Because it does make it a lot more challenging for us to break that plateau. The other thing is, how can you, and I talked about this the other week, is how can you do some type of fasting? But again, my only invitation with fasting is that it's monitored and that you talk to your coach and figure out what's right for you. I can't do fasting. For me, I get headaches, so I can't do that. So you want to make sure that you're working with someone who can guide you on doing the right amount, or how to schedule a fasting schedule for you that would work out. Keep in mind though, and I think the other part is just be mindful that as you're getting closer to your goal, as you're getting closer to your weight goal based on your height and based on your body type, it becomes more challenging for you to drop pounds or drop the number on the scale. So it's okay. Don't freak out when you're at that point, when you're closer to your goal. I really invite people to then start tracking pictures, because when you track your pictures, it makes a difference when you start to see the progress in the inches. Sometimes what happens is when you're eating well, all of a sudden you're taking the right amount of protein, you're taking the right amount of fibers, you're taking the right amount of fats, then you're adding your workouts and you're being a little bit more intense on the workouts. All of a sudden you're adding now more muscle and getting rid of fat, right? The density of muscle, it's smaller and more compact than the amount of fat. So all of a sudden you might be gaining 1 pound of muscle but dropping 1 pound of fat. So when you measure yourself on the scale, you're like, what's going on? Nothing happened, nothing shifted. But in your body it did. The composition of your body changed. And the only way that you can visually see it is through pictures. So that's why I really invite you to go and make sure you take pictures, because that says 100 words. That says a lot more than the numbers on the scale. So don't get so stuck on the scale, because the scale can be sometimes a little bit misleading. And then sometimes with us women, what happens is you have a great workout, you're pumping, you're doing your weights, you're doing really, really good. And it might be that time of the month. So then you might be swelled up a little bit. And then you feel like, oh my God, I jumped on the scale and I gained weight, and you freak out. And it's like, don't freak out. That's normal sometimes, your body just goes through ebb and flows. It has to adjust. So you have to be kind to your body. So that's my invitation, to breaking through that plateau, is be kind to your body. It didn't gain the weight overnight, so you can't expect it to get there as well, okay? Another tip when you're trying to break a plateau is, I talked about this a couple weeks ago, but make sure you're doing your cleanses throughout I recommend every change of the season. So if you haven't done one for this season, do one now. When you do a cleanse, it helps your body detoxify and get rid of bowel that's been stuck there. Typically, it could be, we keep between 5 to 25 pounds of excess bowel. I know, so gross, or poop in our system. So that's definitely a recommendation. If you haven't done a detox, or if you haven't done a cleanse, it's about that time, do it. The best thing it's going to help you is just detoxify your body and get your body back in alignment to your goals, okay? And, as we're talking about personalizing your meal plans and going through that, I wanted to share a couple products that could, aside from the cleanse that I just shared with you, is, the teas, that's why I think all of those coaches, you see us, with our teas. Yes, Lily, the probiotics is part of the detox. So it's part of the cleanse program too. But the teas, I love the teas because the green tea it's a thermogenic, which is helping your metabolism work a lot more faster, I'm sorry. And it gives your body that boost of energy. So obviously when your body has the right energy, you feel like working out, right? And on top of that, because of the green tea mix that it helps you burn 80 to 100 calories per serving. So it helps you balance the calories that you're taking out, helping you burn them out. So one of my invitations though with the tea is just get to know your body. Everybody's body is a little bit different. I am right now on my third cup of tea. I can handle a lot of tea and my body's good, but I also have to be active to burn it out. I ran this morning, 2 miles. So it's like, how can you become aware of what your body can take so that your body can burn off those calories a little bit different, okay? And then guys, Prolessa, oh my God, I love this. So one of the things as you're trying to reduce the amount of calories that you're taking is sometimes, you go through this wave, especially, if you had a rough couple weeks right now with everything going on and you're like, okay, I'm really going to get back on track now. Well, then your body's been used to you giving it all this food. And then all of a sudden this week, you're like, okay, back on track. I'm going to put myself back online. Well, then your mind is not in alignment with you sometimes. So it'll make you feel hungry, like you still should be eating. And Prolessa will help you with that, because Prolessa does two things. It's called Prolessa Duo for a reason. It's an almond oil that helps cover the lining of your stomach, and it helps send a signal faster to your brain that you're full. Now, it doesn't mean, like I said, you have to be eating, right? Like you have to be feeding your body. But because your body feels full, well, then all of a sudden you don't have to have so many servings per day. Or, you can be a little bit more mindful of what you choose because you're feeling full, right? The problem is when you wait to eat when you're super hungry, that's when you like attack the fridge. But if you have Prolessa, you're like, oh, I'm not that hungry. So then like you're gonna be more mindful of choosing the right foods, making sure your plate looks colorful, making sure your plate has enough protein, because again, because you're not that hungry, you're not gonna be wanting to attack the fridge and eat just anything that's in front of you. So Prolessa, I love, especially right now if you're trying to get yourself back on track. It's a great one, especially because it doesn't have any stimulant, so you won't feel like that burst of energy. I like to do this before I do my run. You can talk to your coach. This is how I like to do it, is I mix it with my beverage mix as a shot before I run. I did a training one time and I heard how it helps your body burn, through that workout a little bit more. So I love to do Prolessa in the morning. You can also do Prolessa at night because it could continue to burn fat for you as you're sleeping. And again, you'll wake up not feeling super hungry, which is another issue too that some people have. Total Control, again, it's kind of like the tea in a tablet form, but the Total Control actually also has cayenne pepper, so it does stimulate your metabolism a little bit more than the tea. So with the tea, you can play around with how much quantities you put. Same thing with the Total Control, you can take 1 or 2 tablets. I like to take, so guys, I know I'm a little extreme, but I like to do my tea in the morning, I'll do my shake, and then after my shake, I do 2 Total Controls to set me up for the day. So play around with the quantities for you that you feel would work best, for your body. But again, all it is, the Total Control, is a blend of different types of teas, cayenne pepper, so it'll stimulate your body to work faster so you can burn more calories, which is what you want to do when you want to break that plateau. One of the things, and again, like that's why I keep repeating, is there's a big misconception of breaking your weight loss plateau and like not eating. You don't want to do that. So you just want to be eating the right amount of calories and protein per day, right? So play around with all the different options that we have, with the products, so that you can do little recipes here and there, especially right now. Some of you are super creative when it comes to that. But I'll tell you, my personal go-to favorites all day, every day, is the beverage mix, because it has 15 grams of protein and 0 sugar, or 0 calories. And so it helps me feel full. I can mix this into my Greek yogurt. I can be drinking it during the day, and it's keeping myself satisfied throughout the day without feeling guilty with the calories, right? But there's a bunch of them that you can play around with. And then now with the iced coffee, oh my God, I'm loving the iced coffee. So I've been seeing all these recipes. People have been doing like all these whipped stuff. Have you guys been seeing this? Like people have been posting like all these whipped coffees with, it looks really, really good and really, really beautiful in these mugs, but it's so high in sugar. So I did one the other day. Here's my recipe. So I used almond milk, unsweetened almond milk, and then I just put half of my cup of almond milk. I put some ice, I added some water, and then I mixed the iced, I like the house blend, that's my favorite. So I mixed that in a little bit of water, just like 4 ounces. I mixed it so it came out really, really thick. I poured it over my almond milk, and then I mixed in with like about 4 ounces too, some Prolessa on top of that. Oh my God, guys, it was delicious. And it was a non-guilty coffee that totally, one, took away the cravings of wanting coffee, but didn't give me the sugar, and if anything, helped me burn fat. So play around with this. These are great things that can help you, curb those appetites. If you've been wanting chocolate, like I'm a big chocolate fanatic, I love these protein bites. But it's really, have a balance of, your food, your calorie intake, personalize your plan, make sure you're working out. And like all of us are different and all of our bodies are different. So that's something that we all have to keep in mind. You know, it's like you have to have a balanced plan that fits you. And, you know, at the end of this all, I think one of the biggest things or lessons that, you know, I want to make sure that we're all keeping in mind is that at the end of the day, appreciate your body and appreciate who you are and self-care and self-love it. And so what I mean by that is that, you know, I've come to terms that I'm not going to have the body of JLo. That's just not physically possible, right? She has a different body structure than I do. But that's okay. Like I can appreciate my hands and I can appreciate my stomach because it does amazing things. So how do you learn to also be grateful for your current body? Now, can I make it better? Absolutely. And that's what I'm working towards, right? But it doesn't mean that I have to constantly be having that battle of like, I need to look like this person, I need to do this, or I need to look like that. No, appreciate your body for what it does and for what it's creating. So I think that as you're in your journey, you start to really be grateful for the fact that your legs get you through life to walk and they get you the ability to be able to work out. So it's like all these little things that I think we're all becoming with this pandemia that's happening. I think we're becoming a little bit more, I want to use the word like more kind and more grateful for the things that really matter. And I think one of those things that really, really matter is having a healthy body that can function well. So I hope that was helpful. Evaluate your meal plan, evaluate where you're at, make the little tweaks, because sometimes it's just little tweaks that you have to make, you know, to get yourself going. And make sure that you talk to your coach so that way they can help you, guide you. So with that, guys, thank you so much. I hope that was of value to you. Excited for new results to come your way. Love you guys.